Yeah, we're up to Hail Bays, I guess. The last line. Yeah, make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, Amar Rav Chanan, so we're discussing a mavui over here. And we want to know about the size of a breach of a mavui. How big may it be? Amar Rav Chanan bar Rava, Amar Rav, mavui shenifrat mitzidai. What happens if a mavui was breached on the sides? On the side means there's a opening to a mavui. And instead of the opening where the kairo, the lechi normally is, on the side it was breached. Mitzidai be'eser, you have up to 10 amas. In order for it to be considered a breach, under 10 amas, it's still kosher. Mereishe bedalad. However, in the front, in the front of the mavui, you have only up to 4 tvachim. Ma'ishna mitzidai. What's the difference mitzidai be'eser? The amar pischahu. On the side, you say that you remember that we said the difference between anything above 10 amas becomes, it changes from an opening into a breach, into what? Yeah. Into a hole. It's something that totally destroys the wall. And the question is, why does it change? Why do I say that on the side we say you have up to 10 amas, but to be considered an opening, a doorway, a way, and on the archway or whatever you're going to say, it's a Pesach. And on the front, we say they only have up to 4. What's the difference? So the Gemara says, Amar Ravuna b'rei Yeshua kigayin shenifritz b'karen zavis. That's true. Gemara says the truth is that there is no difference between the front and the sides. And the truth is that we're talking over here that it's in the corner. Now in the corner of the front, I don't know if you can imagine, let's say over here, this is a mavui. This is a mavui and this is the front. Okay, so on the corner part...
By the front you mean the entrance?
The entranceway, right? The front is the entranceway. And the corner part, it's not normal to be used as an opening, as a thoroughfare, as a way to go in. Same Cain, over there, that's not a Pesach. That's very sensitive. So therefore, over there we're saying that means, that's the Dalet Tvachim. B'karen Zavis, the Pischa, B'karen Zavis lay of the inchi. Because over there, people don't make an opening. So therefore, if it's more than Dal Tvachim, then already we don't see it as opening. You know, if you go to, let's say, it's very simple. If you go to, you see a big wall. A big wall has an opening. It's not as sensitive. It can be a bigger opening. But what happens if you have a small wall? So then it's much more sensitive. The opening can be only smaller. So too in the Karen Zavis. Karen Zavis is not normal to make an opening. People don't make an opening on the corner. You normally make an opening in the middle. And if it's at the corner, so then when it's 10 amas wide, if it's more than 10 tvachim, 4 tvachim, so then it's already, then it loses its name as an opening, and already it's considered already a breach. And if it's a breach, so then it's not good.
So if it's a breach, then it's not a kosher mavui?
So if it's a breach, it's not a kosher mavui. Very good. So if it's a breach, the kaira and the lechi cannot kasher it. Okay? I don't know if you want to see a picture. Anybody can see a picture. I don't know if you can see this. This is Karen Zavis. And you don't have the kaira, it doesn't attach. You see? It's the corner. And the kaira is on a small part of the wall in the front. But it's not big enough. So therefore it won't be considered a Pesach, it will be considered a Pirza. The Pischa b'Karen Zavis lay of the entry. Ravuna Amar, Echad Zeh Echad Zeh Ba'arva. Ravuna says no, that no matter what, even on the side, Ravuna argues, and he says even on the side, the opening can only be 4. It cannot be 10 like we learned before. The maximum can be 4, even on the side. It doesn't make a difference. In the front and the side, it's always 4. V'chein Amalei Ravuna le Rav Chanan, Barav le Tiflag aloi. Ravuna said to Rav Chanan, he said, listen, don't argue with me. Why? Because the Rav ikla the Machri. Rav once went to the town of Machri, v'avid of the Kvasi, and he did like me, that he was makpid that it should not be more than 4 tvachim. He was makpid like me. So we see that that the halacha is not like you, that even on the side it cannot be up to 10 amas. It can only be up to 4. So he told him no, it's not a proof. Because the town of Machri, Amalei, the town of Machri is different. Why is the town of the Machri different? He says Amalei Rav Bikam Matzah. He found a empty area, the Gada Bar Geder, and he made a Geder. This is like he's alluding to a Bikah. There was nothing growing there, meaning that it was a town of a bunch of Amaratzim. And they were lax in the halachas of Eruvin. So therefore, if he would say that they have up to 10 amas, So they maybe it would lead to more to worse transgressions of the halacha. So therefore, he says that only up to four, only up to 4. And really, and if you go to a place that's not so lax, so the truth is the root of the halacha is that it really can be up to 10 amas. But over there, he paskin differently. But normally, he doesn't hold like that. It makes sense that the halacha is like Rav Huna, that across the board we say that only up to 4. Why? The itmar, because we learned Mavi Akum, Rav Amar Tarasikum Fulish, Shmuel Amar Tarasikum Sasam. Mavi Akum is as follows. You see this? Mavi Akum, this is a Mavi Akum. Mavi Akum goes straight up and it turns. Now the way to look at this thing is that we have over here, we have a Mavi, and over here there's a Rosh Hashanah, and so too over here is also a Rosh Hashanah.
What's up?
On both sides, here, on the bottom, can you see this?
So this is where's the entrance?
This is a Mavi Akum. The entranceway, there's 2 entrances. There's one over here and one over here. And people walk from here to here. Now the thing is like this, if you look at this, you can see really 2 Mavayas. There's one Mavi over here and another Mavi over here. So the question over here is, does this Mavi attach to this Mavi? It attaches, but is it considered closed? Is it considered one thing? Or is it considered open? Let's see what the halacha is. Meaning like this. Do I have to make a differentiation from this mavi to this mavi or not? Okay? No, over here I definitely have to make a lechi or a kaira because this is open to Rosh Hashanah. Over here I have to make a lechi kaira, and over here I do. But the question is, this leads into this. So maybe I have to do something over here too.
You carry from one to the other.
Can I carry one to the other without doing something? Without making some we'll see in a second.
The other side of Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah over here and there's Rosh Hashanah over here.
Why can't it be
one thing?
Yeah,
that is the question. That's exactly what the question is. If let's say it's owned by 2 different people.
alleyway doesn't have to be perfectly straight.
Yeah, it does. Look, it does. For Eruvin, it does. If a street turns, let's say you have like Bathurst at the end of Bathurst, it'll be considered maybe a Mavi Akum. Okay. So now, you asking a question? Yeah.
When they're attached, is that part considered an opening, and then you have to see whether it's bigger than 10 amos?
That's it, right? Very good. Let's see the Gemara. Perfect. Okay. So you say like this. Let's see.
What's Akum?
So what? Akum means curved.
A curve.
So crooked. Okay. So again, we're here to prove that how big does an opening have to be? Can it be 10 amas, or can it be less than 10 amas? And even less than 10 amas, it makes a reason for you to do something, to make a air or something, a pesach or something. We'll see in a second. So the Gemara says like this: we have a machlekes between Rav and Shmuel. Rav holds that it's terasikum foolish. That means that it's totally open. That means that Mavi A leads into Mavi B, and it's considered open towards that. Or Shmuel says no, terasikum sasam as a halacha like it's 2, like you bothered. That it's like one thing. It's really seen as a whole closed area, and therefore you don't need anything. Obviously, you'll need a lechi akira at the 2 ends of the Rosh Hashanah.
Do or don't need?
You do need. Obviously, you need at the 2 ends of the Rosh Hashanah. So, the Gemara wants to know like this: how wide is this opening over here? Is this more than 10 amas? The opening where it turns, right? Where one mavi leads to the next mavi. How wide is that? Is that more than 10 amas? Now, if that is more than 10 amas, it's not really understandable. Why? It doesn't make sense that even Shmuel would agree that it's sasim. It's not understandable. It doesn't make sense because everybody agrees that if it's more than 10 amas wide, that is definitely considered a pirza, and that will need some attention. You'll have to make something. A pirza means opening. I don't know how to say a pirza in English, but what? I know, but a pesach is also opening. Meaning it's an opening of not a doorway, not a way opening, not a thoroughfare type of opening, not a controlled opening. Okay?
Breakthrough.
It's more like a breakthrough. Thank you. So now it doesn't make sense to say that Shmuel holds that even in that case that we hold that it's sasim. Obviously, we have to be talking about El Lav Vaser. Obviously, we have to be talking about that it's under 10. The Kama Rav Tirasa Kama Foolish, and even though it's under 10, we hold that it's Mafulish. Alma Pirtzas Mavi Mitzidai Bedalets. So obviously we see that it's up to 4 tvachim. So let me just explain this again clearly, this way we have it. The Gemara's question over here is like this: how big does the opening have to be? Can it be 10 amas, or does it have to be less than 10 amas? Rav Huna wants to prove to himself that Rav Huna holds that across the board always has to be 4 tvachim, not more, and anything more than that needs something. A tzuras pesach, an erev, a kar, something. and he brings a proof from Rav. What's the proof of Rav? By a Mavi Akum, where you have two Mavois attached to each other, Rav holds that it's Mafulish and I need to make something over here, a Dallas or something over here, and Shmuel holds that not. The question is, what's the case? If we hold that it's narrower than 10 amas, if we hold that it's more than 10 amas, then it's not possible to say there's no shita that holds that more than 10 amas doesn't need something. So it's not possible to say that Shmuel holds in that case that it doesn't need anything. So obviously we have to be talking about over here that it's something less than Dalad Amas and something less than Yud Amas. And even though it's less than Yud Amas, Rav holds that I still have to do something. Rav holds it has terrorism of foolish. So obviously this proves like Rav Huna that Rav holds like Rav Huna that even though it's under 10 Amas, you still have to do something. Good? So it's a good proof. So the Gemara says, "Alma purchase mav mitzida b'dalat." Rav Chana bar Rava. What's Rav Chana bar Rava? Rav Chana bar Rava holds that on the side you have to have 10 amas in order to have to do something. So what is he going to say? What's Rav Shana Rav? He doesn't want to go against Rav, so he says, "Shani hasan the kabaki by Ravim." He says over there it's very different because over there it's a thoroughway of Ravim, and the multitudes go through there. So in Cain it destroys the idea of having less of a Rishus Rabbim. It destroys that. So therefore you need more of a hecker. You have to show more that it's something more. So therefore over there it's a different case. It's Baki Barabim. So obviously Michlal the Rav Huna Sav Afagav Loi Baki Barabim. So obviously you're going to tell me that Rav Huna holds that even if it's Loi Baki Barabim, that means you have very few people going through there. You're still sensitive to the idea of 4 Tvachim, and anything more than that, you need already a hecker. So if that's the case, we learned yesterday that Ravami Ravasi holds that you could have up to 10 amas. So what's Ravami and Ravasi going to be talking about according to Rav Huna? So he said, Hasam de gedudei. Over there, in the case of Ravami Ravasi, the reason why you're allowed to have up to 10 amas is because when you destroy a wall, imagine a guy destroys a wall. So we have a wall over here, and they destroy it. Now, if you don't do a good job, it's not flush with the ground. So there's a little bit of a bump. And people have to walk through that bump. Now, if there's a bump there, then less people walk through. So if there's less people walk through, it has less of a halacha like Rosh Hashanah, so therefore it can be wider. The pirza, the opening, can be wider, and it doesn't destroy the outlook of the character of what the Mavi itself is. Okay, Adkan. What happens if you have a Rosh Hashanah? Now the character of Rosh Hashanah is that it has to be 16 amas wide, and it has to be, let's say, a thoroughfare, like a big, like a Bathurst type of street, a highway, and some Rishonim hold that you have to have 600,000 people going through per day. We'll just leave it at that. Okay? So, Taravana, how do you make an Eruv on Rosh Hashanah? You make a Tzuras HaPesach on one side, so now this is more stringent. Normally you could have, maybe by a Mavi, you could have a Tzuras, you could just have a Lechi or a Kaira. Over here you have to have a Tzuras HaPesach on one side. That's like an Eruv that we make today, with the string, that's a Tzuras HaPesach. Okay, Tzuras HaPesach doesn't have to be thick. So you can make a pole on one side, a pole on the other side, and a string going on top, that looks like a Tzuras HaPesach. The lechi v'kayr mekan, and on the other side you can have a lechi v'kayr. Chanani argues, and he says as follows: Beishamai yoimer, according to Beishamai, you need oisadalas mekan v'dalas mekan. You need even a higher level. You need an actual door to be there. And and as he goes in and out, it closes. Beisil yoimer oisadalas mekan, the lechi v'kayr mekan. Beisil is a little less stringent, and they hold that only on one side you need a door, and the other side you need a lechi and a kayra. Okay, so again, we have 3 shittas. Tanakama holds you need a Tzuras HaPesach on one side and a Lechi HaKayr on the other side. And Chanani holds, according to Beis Shammai, you need a door on both sides. And according to Beis Hillel, you need a door on one side and a Lechi HaKayr on the other side. Correct the Gemara, I don't understand. How can you make a Eruv on Rosh Hashanah? We learned in a Brisa, Batani, we learned in a Brisa, yes, Alkain. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is very makel. Rabbi Yehuda holds, if a person has 2 homes, or like Tyson says, it's really talking about a chutzner in front of the home. So again, let's say you have a Rosh Hashanah, right? This is a Rosh Hashanah, and I have one house over here and one house over here. All you have to do is, so let's say it's owned by one person, I have one house over here and one house over here, and people are going through over here. I make a Lechi V'Kayr Mekan and a Lechi V'Kayr on this side, and we see the area in between as a mutter place to carry.
But the street goes this way. Right.
Right, that's exactly it. So you're just cutting off a part of the street. The street's going this way, and you have a house on this side and a house on this side. Obviously, you can't have a street on this side because then it's not a Rishus Harabim.
Right, so you're just saying that the guys can go across the street.
They're going. They have no idea what's going on here. You just put a lechi on this side as a hecker and a lechi or a kara on this side as a hecker, and you can carry in between.
In between. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what Rabbi Yehuda holds.
You're making your own alleyway. Okay.
I'm making my own virtual alleyway in the middle of the Rishus Harabim. Okay? So, the Chacham said to him, you cannot do that. That's not the way you make an Erev in Rishus Harabim. You need a lot more than that. But what does it mean that they said with this way you don't make an Erev? So obviously what does it mean? There is a way to make an Erev. How can you make an Erev? Obviously if you put doors in between, let's say on one end of the street you put doors, instead of a lechi and a kara on one end, you put doors. You actually make something that can close it up. So people are walking through, you have a house on this side and a house on this side, and he installs doors that closes up the street.
Close to the Rishus Harabim.
Close the Rishus Harabim. That's it. He owns it. He's Jewish. Okay. So the Gemara says like this. We'll see soon if it actually has to be closed or not. You could just install doors there, and then you leave the doors open, obviously. I don't know if he has a right to close the doors. Let's see. So, Amar Rabbi Yechon Yerushalayim ilumole dalsei sao ninalois balayla chayv nelam mishum Rishus Harabim. Yerushalayim is considered a Rishus Harabim. People go in and out, and it has arches, it has entrances against each other. Now, if Yerushalayim's doors would not have been closed, then it would be considered carrying in Rishus Harabim over there. The thing is like this: then when you have a Rishus Harabim again has to be, let's say, 16 amos wide. Now, if you have a place that's closed off, let's say a place that's totally gated in, like the old city today. So if you close the doors, there's openings there, and if you close the doors, then it's seen as a big chutzner. A big chutzner, a large chutzner, you may carry in a large chutzner. So there's nothing wrong with being, there's a lot of people there and it's very large, it doesn't make a difference. But the fact is, when it's closed off, it changes from Rishus Harabim into a chutzner. So therefore you're allowed to carry. So in Yerushalayim, when it has a Rishus Harabim, Yerushalayim has the halacha of Rishus Harabim, but because you close the doors, it turns into a big chutzner. So what do we see from this? The only way to make something Rishus Harabim, to change it from Rishus Harabim to something else, is when you have doors that actually close. Right? You have to be able to close it. That means you have to be able to make the people cannot come in or go out. So, these entranceways, these archways that were also against each other in Mechuzah, if the doors would not have been closed, you'd be chayav mishum Rishus Harabim. So what do you see from this? We see clearly that a tzuras HaPesach is not good enough. Right, we said before that the Tanna Kama holds that a tzuras HaPesach is good enough. Or according to Beis Hillel, maybe I could have a lechi on one side and a door on the other side. But not only that, not only is a door not good enough, you actually have to have it closed at night. That means you have to actually physically be able to close up the property. Not be able to, you have to actually close it. Amar Yehuda Haki Kamar. Ketzad. Okay, so now we're back to square one. We have a problem. What's our problem? Our problem is like this. We learned in this brisa. We learned that Rabbi Yochanan said that you have to actually close doors. The problem is like this. We learned originally in the brisa. We have Machlekes Tanakama and Chananya. If you need doors, or you need a Tzuras HaPesach, or you need doors on both sides, or not on both sides. But definitely over there, we're not talking about that you have to close the doors. So we have a steer, we have a problem. One place we learned that the doors have to be closed. Yerushalayim, if the doors will not be closed, then you're not allowed to carry. And we learned in the Tanakama that the doors definitely don't have to be closed. It wasn't mentioned once that the doors have to actually be closed. So what are you going to do? So the Gemara says like this. We're not talking about where it's actually Rishus Harabim itself. We're talking about a mavi that's open to Rishus Harabim. So how do I make an area over there in that area? So the answer is that Oisa Tzuras HaPesach Mikan, V'lechi V'kari Mikan. You make a Tzuras HaPesach. When I have a mavi that's mefulish to Rishus Harabim, then I don't need to make a door that closes at night. All I need to make is a Tzuras HaPesach. Or maybe a door, but it doesn't have to be closed at night. But definitely, the only time that you have to actually have a door closed is only when it's actual Rosh Hashanah. When it's a mavi that's open to Rosh Hashanah, then we come up to the machlekes of either a Tzuras Pesach or a door on both sides or a door on one side.
And a Tzuras Pesach is just a small opening.
But Tzuras Pesach could be a very large opening. Actually, it could be as big as you. It could be very big. Tzuras Pesach just means that it looks like a doorway. So that's like an ERU today. It could be wide. It could be very wide.
What's the word
Tzuras Pesach. It looks like a Pesach. Tzuras, like a picture of a Pesach. Okay, so. Itma Rav Omer Hilchas Tanakama. Rav said Allah is like the Tanakama that holds that you need a Tzuras Pesach, and you don't even need a door itself. V'Shmuel Omer Allah Chananya, and Shmuel holds Allah is like Chananya. Iboilu Chananya liba de Beis tzarich lino in tzarich lino. According to Chananya, obviously we're going according to Beis Hill, and according to Chananya, according to Beis Hill, we need a door on one side and a lechi akira on the other side. So the question is like this: do these doors have to be closed or not? Right? Shmuel holds like Hananya, but do these doors have to be closed or not? Tashema, the Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Ein Tzarich Lino. We learned that Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, that the doors do not have to be closed. V'chein Amar Masna Amar Shmuel, Ein Tzarich Lino. These doors that you need, you just have to have doors there, but they don't have to be closed. Iked Amri, those that say, Amar of Masna, B'didi Hava Uvda, for Amar Li Shmuel, Ein Tzarich Lino. Shmuel actually said himself that the doors don't have to be closed. So the answer of Anan, do the doors that are installed there, do they have to be able to be closed or not? Amar Lahu Tachazi. Let's see. Hani Abula de Nardoi, there's these entranceways to Narda, to the city of Narda, the Timin Ad Palgayu. They had doors installed. However, there was there was a mound of earth in front of the doors that made that the doors cannot close. Right? Let's say the doors had a certain height, and the earth went up in the middle. Let's say this is the entranceway, and the doors should be able to be closed. However, there's a mound of earth, so now the doors were not able to be closed. And Shmuel walked through there, and Shmuel went through there, and people were carrying, and he didn't say anything. Obviously, the Shmuel agreed. And he held that it's fine that the doors don't actually have to be closed. They just have to have doors there, but not closed. Amar Rav Kahana, Hanach Magufes Hava. He says no, over there it's different because over there they were able to be closed halfway. So if the door is open or a door is semi-closed, those two things are very different. The idea of a door being totally open and the idea of a door being semi-open is very different. So you cannot bring me a rye from there. Over there, the mound of earth maybe didn't let the door to be closed totally. But at Kapanim, maybe at night they closed it halfway. And a halfway closed door is good enough to be considered closed. Kiyasar, at least it's a functioning door. Right? Do you understand the idea? The idea is that it's a functioning door. It's not just a look of a door. It's a functioning door. It might not be closed totally. It doesn't have to have a lock on the door. But halfway, so it's functioning. Kiyasar of Nachman Amar, Penuya Lafrayu. Where Nachman came there, he said, take away the earth and let it be closed. So obviously, what is this a proof to? Lema Riksavar of Nachman Sarach Leno. Obviously, why did he want the mound of earth to be moved? Obviously, because he wanted the doors to be closed. So we have a raya that Akapanim of Nachman holds that the doors must be closed at night. So the Gemara says, no, it's not a raya. Who says that the reason why he wanted the mound of earth to be removed is to actually close the door? Maybe the reason is Kivan the Ruyais Lino, because it's possible to close the doors, even though you don't actually close the doors, that is good enough. Okay, so we have many different levels. We have a level either the door should be halfway closed, or we have a level that the door is possibly closed, and that's good enough. Like in the case of Rav Nachman, we don't have a proof. We need functioning doors. We don't need doors to actually close off a little bit of the entrance. So as of this point, really, we don't have a raya that you need doors to be closed. You just need doors. The question is how functioning you need the doors to be. Does it have to be halfway closed? Does it have to be able to be closed? But nobody ever said that the doors have to actually be closed. Okay. There was a Mavi Akum in Arda. Now this Mavi Akum looked like a ches. If you look in Rashi, you see Rashi, the diagram of Rashi on the left side. Rashi has a ches. You see that? Okay, so it's up to that. So now at the two edges, there's a Rishus Rabim, and obviously at the two edges you need a Lachi or a Kaira. Okay? Now the question is like this. If you look down where the Ches meets, you see there's two doors over there. You see Delis, and in the other corner is also a Delis. Because this is a Mavi that's being attached. So let's see. Before we had the case of a Mavi Akum, that means it was just an L. Over here now we have a Ches. So, what was the halach over there? What happened over there? They put on them the chumrah of Rav, the chumrah of Shmuel, and the chumrah of Shmuel. What was the chumrah of Rav that they made them do? They made them actually put doors, not a doorway, not a tzuras HaPesach, a door, a physical door. And because Rav holds by a Mavi Akum, remember we learned earlier, Rav holds by a Mavi Akum that it's considered terase kesasum. Right? Rav holds that, Rav holds that it's foolish. Rav holds that the crooked Mavi, this crooked Mavi, Rav holds that it's foolish, and therefore you have to put something over here, you have to put a Tzuras HaPetzach over here. So they held like Rav that this Mavi Akum is two Mavayis together, and therefore you have to put something there. What they hold you have to put there? You have to put a Delis there. Now Rav doesn't hold you have to put a Delis. Rav holds that you have to put a Tzuras HaPetzach. So they took one part of the sheet of Rav, which is that you have to put something there, and they added on, and then they went like Shmuel. Shmuel holds that whenever you have to put something there, you have to put an actual door. Rav holds whenever you have to put something there, you just have to put a Tzuras HaPesach. So they took the Chumrah of one and the Chumrah of the other, and they created a new shita. Now, ultra from. They took the Chumrah of Rav that you needed a Tzuras HaPesach, and they took the Chumrah of Shmuel that you needed a door, and they put it together. So they didn't actually have a way of a person. They just put together the biggest Chumrah possible. So
Don't care, it's a better chumrah.
Well, how do you make a Tzuras HaPesach without, I mean, you're talking about the Lechi or Korah?
No, Tzuras HaPesach inside this Mavi. You have a Mavi, and you put a Tzuras HaPesach there. A Mavi is like an alleyway, so they put a Tzuras HaPesach there.
What is it? You said a Tzuras HaPesach makes it look like a...
But Tzuras HaPesach is like an ERU we do today.
Oh, just like a...
It's just a doorway. It looks like a doorway. You can take two poles and you put a pole on top. That's Tzuras HaPesach. So, the Chumrah of Rav, the Chumrah of Rav, that it's mafulish, that you have to put something there. However, Rav holds that you need the halacha like Tanakama, that a Tzuras HaPesach is good enough. So they took the Chumrah of Shmuel, because Shmuel halacha Chananya, and the Chumrah of Shmuel like the halacha like Chananya, and I the Amar Shmuel Terasa Kasasam. Shmuel holds you don't need anything there. So then they went back to the Chumrah of Rav, like I explained before, Dam Terasa Mafulish. Okay, so they took the Chumras of both, and they put together the most from Mavi possible. So the Gemara has a hard time understanding that. Mi'avdina Ketrei Chumrah, do we do that? Do we take the Chumras of two people and put them together? We know that in Torah, that you follow a Messiah, you follow a tradition, you follow a way of thought. There's one way of doing things. You don't have to take the chumras of many people. You know, some people, they take the chumras of every single community out there, the Hasidic chumras, the Litvish chumras. That's not the way we do things. You take one chumra, you follow one person, one Rebbe, and you do what he does. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? We learned, the halacha is always like Bisol. Now, anybody that wants to do like Bishamai, he may follow the thought, the halachas of Bishamai. And Kedivra Bisol, if he wants to follow the ways of Bisol, he can follow that. However, if he's the type of person that always goes to the lenient opinion, so whenever the coolest of Bisol, he goes to the lenient of Bisol. Whenever the coolest of Bishamai, he goes to the lenient of Bishamai. So that's considered a Rasha. Mechumra, it's not just it's like people know all the coolest of Moshe, but they don't know his chumras. So mechumra v'shamay and mechumra v'sil. Now, if you always follow the stringent halacha, and you go stringent halacha v'shamay and v'sil, the fool walks in the dark. A person doesn't have to follow the chumras of all. Ella. What do you do? If you have the Maser Visham, you go according to the Kulas and the Chumras. Or you go according to all the Chumras and the Kulas of Vishol. So the problem is like this. If you look back, okay, so we get the idea. The idea is that you always follow a tradition and you get all the Kulas and all the Chumras of that tradition. Now, the thing is like this. If we look back in the Mishnah, the Brisa said the halacha is like Vishol, and then right afterwards the Brisa says, whoever wants to follow Bishamay follows, and whoever wants to follow Bishol can follow Bishol. The problem is like this. I don't understand. We just said the halacha, the accepted halacha, is like Bishol. How can you say afterwards that you can follow Bishamay if you want, or you can follow Bishol if you want? It's not a free world. You can't follow Bishami or Beisol. If we pass like Beisol, that's what you got to do. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. How can you say that? The Gemara says, Gufa Kasha. It's a steer by itself. Amrit lo'elam halacha b'sol. First you said halacha zek b'sol. V'had amrit reitz last divrei shama oisa. And then you said you can do whatever you want. So the Gemara says like kasha. Kan kaidim baskol kan lacha baskol. This is talking about the halacha zek b'sol after the accepted psak after the baskol came out to the halacha zek b'sol, and the other kan lacha b'sol or after the baskol you have to follow b'sol. Or you can say both of them are talking about after the baskol. So why don't you have to follow the baskol? Why don't you have to accept b'sol's halacha? According to Rabbi Shua, he doesn't accept a baskol as a psak because Torah lo Hashemayim. Another answer is HaKohen. That really the halacha is always like B'sol and you must follow B'sol. But what does it mean that the halacha is like you can follow B'shamay or you can follow B'sol, whichever one you choose? It means HaKohen. Kol hecha the mishkachas trei tanoi. Whenever you find a different machlekes, not actually B'sol B'shamay, it just means something similar to the machlekes that are found between B'sol and B'shamay. V'trei amaroi, the pligai the two amarayim, or let's say today two paiskim. The pliga that are arguing each other, similar to Bisham Misal, you shouldn't follow the coolest of one and the coolest of the other. Right? Let's say you follow Ramesha. If you want to follow Ramesha, you follow him all the way. Follow him the Chumras and the coolest, you follow everything. You cannot take the coolest of Ramesha and you take the coolest of Shlomo Zalman Orbach. I don't know, whoever you want to do. You can't go shopping around for the coolest. You follow one tradition. Or the opposite end is also true. You cannot follow the chumras of every single pasuk out there either. Or either you follow exactly what he says, his kulas and his chumras, or all his the other person's kulas and chumras.